Well, you did a really remarkable thing, though, in organizing that and getting those musicians together. Kaz and his brother are very talented musicians and really nice people. His daughter is playing now and vocals, and just bringing that together is a remarkable achievement, I think.
Yeah, I was able to play with him a little bit back in November of last year, and it's always wonderful to see him. He introduced me. He's the one that brought me on the tours of Japan. I think the first time he brought me over there, it was like a 17-day tour. And I told him when that was over, I said, if you ever bring me back, I won't do it for any less than 30 days. I want to be over here for at least 30 days. And he enabled me to come over and make a couple more trips over do that. And it was some of the most fascinating times in my life. I never tried to learn to speak any of the English. It's real funny. It's when you can only communicate with hand gestures and facial expressions and a translator, it it really changes the world for you.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. Uh, and there are so many bluegrass players here. That shocked me when I learned that coming from America, that I was found all these wonderful bluegrass musicians here. Uh,
Let me interject something here. I always wondered what the fascination was. I know that the country music was taken to Japan by occupational forces after World War II. But a lot of people over there really got attracted to the bluegrass music, the string band music that was played. And I could never understand it. Well, I was over there one time, one of my later trips over there, Yoshihiro Arita was sitting out on a picnic table. I know we were in view, we were in Tokyo in view of the Emperor's Palace where we're there. And he taught me this scale, this Oriental scale. And it was just those notes right there. And I was fascinated by that. So he gave me some of the traditional music over there that's played on shamisen and flute. And I got to thinking about that nature of that traditional music. And you guys obviously know what a shamisen is, and you know that. And you also know what a fiddle and a banjo is. Well, with the shamisen and the banjo, they've got this real staccato sound to them. They ping a note out there and it's gone, you know. Well, the flute and the fiddle can sustain a note. So the interaction between shamisen and the flute in the traditional Japanese music in a lot of ways emulates the traditional music that came out of the Southeast with that fiddle and the banjo. You've got the banjo playing the staccato parts like the shamisen would, and then you've got the fiddle out there that can sustain a note like the flute does. And I thought that was a curiosity right there myself that could be done. But, you know, I really enjoyed fooling around with that, and I've got a couple of pieces of music. One of the things that I do with music now, this would get really involved. It'd probably get too involved for this conversation, but is I just like to play for the sound of playing. And this may run on way too long, and you'll have to edit it to do that. But when I used to go down to Bill Monroe's house in his later years, we'd go down there and do our business plan and stay for a week, set up computers in a hotel room, and then go out to Bill's. You know, I'd call up Bill in the morning and say, Mr. Bill, you got coffee on out there? And if he said yes, that meant I could come out to his house. So I'd stop and buy him a dozen donuts and go out there. And he'd drink 4 or 5 cups of coffee with a half a dozen spoons full of sugar in each one of them, and eat those donuts and go out and sit out on the back porch and start playing his mandolin. And when he would start out, it would be just like a tremolo, just like he was playing. And his tremolo was all wrist. It was a classical mandolin technique, as opposed to playing from the elbow or up a full length like that. But anyhow, he would start that tremolo going, and if something would happen out in front of him, like the sun would go behind a cloud, or come out from behind a cloud, or the leaves would be rustling in the trees, or a chicken being chased across the yard by a dog, something, when he would start that tremolo, it was just stuff would start happening. And it wasn't like he was playing, a tune is a repeating sequence of notes. Well, he would play this thing, and it would just be, there would be a little phrase come out of it. It may have been 6 to 10 measures of a little phrase would come out of what we was doing. And if he saw anything, if anything hit one of his sensory input devices, if he saw something, if he heard something, there's something that would come out of that mandolin that let you know he was playing a soundtrack to what he was seeing. And I thought that was the most fascinating thing that I ever heard in my life, is here's a guy who could sit there and play listenable music without even needing the vehicle of a tune. So when I got this Oriental thing, that's the way I started playing it. It's just like the sunrise the first morning. And this will be hard to do barefingered. I usually need a pick to make a sound, but the sunrise, the way it came through my hotel window. And I just start playing stuff. I forgot where the end of that little phrase went. But anyhow, that's, for sounds, I don't know why I drifted off onto all that, and it may all have to be cut out, but that's something that I noted between the similarities, and also the way I play today. I play a lot when I'm just standing out playing for people. I just play mindlessly. And I will do some of that when I get my G-tuned banjo out here. I play out of the tunings of C minor. Well, I play out of a G tuning, a D tuning, a C minor tuning, a C major tuning, and a D major and D minor tunings are the various places that I play things that I've done out of.
Which I find that all very interesting, especially the link with the Japanese instruments, because everything I've heard in the past has been because of the Armed Forces Radio and records procured from servicemen by players that are our age now, like in their 70s or later, that caused them to pick up the bluegrass and get interested in it during the 50s when they were very young. But the link between the Japanese instruments and the sounds of the banjo and the fiddle are just amazing to me.